Cher couldn't be with us, but it was the most fantastical night because, you know, here we're supposed to watch a movie and we're sitting around just yakking, and there was I think 5 of us all together, and then Karen, who's Colleen's mom, starts telling some stories. She's got some personal stories are good of the ghost variety, and I guess we're just chit chatting away, and then Colleen just said, "Oh well, Jazz has got a ghost podcast," so her ears just perked up.
Oh,
hello.
Yeah, really, ghosties.
Ghosties. So she started telling us a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a second, I gotta record this."
Rewind.
Hello, can you stop that thought?
Yeah.
And, you know, so
Excellent
to our interview with Karen over at Colleen's house, and definitely going to have these ladies over into the pod lounge once we kind of get things going again.
Yeah.
Karen has more stories, but for the moment, please listen and enjoy.
Enjoy away.
Ghouls Night In.
So you said that you have seen shadow figures. How old were you when you started seeing the shadow figures?
I don't know. I just, they're in my memory from as far as I could remember as a kid.
Okay. And then you started seeing, and then you saw the lights, which you believe are UFOs.
Yes.
And you saw those when you were older, like...
Yes.
You were in the combine with your mother at what age?
So that when, so
16,
you were 12 years old.
Oh.
So I would have been in my 30s.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yes. And when I was with Mom in the combine, when I saw the UFO. And since then, I see in the sky, so you already, after asking, okay, that's a satellite and that, but satellites don't do this.
No.
So were the lights color changing, or were they the same? And were they individual lights, or were they solid? So then you and I saw the exact same thing at totally different times in the exact same location.
Okay. Because they were there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because
I totally believe in that.
I had a boyfriend in the country who lived instead.
Yes.
You don't need to say it. Anyway, and I was driving out to see him, or I was at his place, and I was going home, and I was scared to go home because I saw
the lights.
They were
swirling around. You say.
well, not only that, they were there, but then suddenly they would move across the sky, which would be like, I'd say 20 kilometers, and then suddenly they'd move another 20 kilometers, and you knew it wasn't a fireworks because they moved so far.
Right.
And you were like, what the heck? How could it be there? And then, move 20 kilometers and be there, and then move another 20 kilometers and be there. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Fast,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, you
And
didn't.
friends of your dad, when we were dating, they were, well, I mean, everybody had their necking spots.
Right. Did
You
say
know,
makeup point?
Makeup points. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And so they were in a gravel pit around Patricia Beach.
Which is the same
somewhere.
location. All around Gull Lake, all around Stead.
And they were there making out. And all of a sudden, they saw, and they knew, like, nobody in the dark is hanging around there, And all of a sudden, they were, something made them look up. They heard a noise or something. I can't even remember. But they saw a face.
Oh.
And it was not human.
Oh my God.
It was not a
And
wolf.
who was this? Like, this was just a bunch of other kids, or?
Yeah, people our age.
Yeah.
So I'm talking 20 years old,
Right.
Yeah. And they saw this and they just, they just kind of wronged. Yes, and his wife, or girlfriend at that time, which became his wife.
Yeah.
They
Crapped their pants.
pretty damn close. And they, he started the car and took off. But it was, he says, all you saw were eyes.
Like humanoid almost. Yeah.
And he says, and they were just, it was right there in the window. And, and of course the guys, and me, I'm just like, for 5 cents.
Oh, for 5 cents.
I am.
That's an Oma-ism.
I am seeing stuff, and and these guys, and and all this shit is happening. And
I haven't used that one in a while.
I've never heard
I
that
gotta start
before.
using it again.
I worked with a gal, and that's all she said.
Oh,
for five
And I
cents.
mean, it just kind of imprints it.
It's kind of like shut the front door.
Yeah. You know, and yeah. So yeah, you know, and I was just like,
I didn't see anything, but all I seen was a bright light and a black. Bright, then black. Is what we seen.
we have where we live now, we have a fire pit, and so my sister and her husband came down, and so we were sitting around the fire drinking and that, and we started talking about this kind of stuff, and of course non-believers and Larry, you know,
I can't wait till what happens to him.
yeah, and there goes
I want
Karen
to be
again,
there.
you know, and I says, well, you know, if they're up there, and so I just kind of leaned back, and holy shit, you know how it is when the clouds, they just kind of part, and then all of a sudden you look up, you see the stars, and them stars are moving, you know,
Again.
and I says, guys, look up there, just look, there is an opening in the clouds, and there are stars, and they're moving. Stars don't do that, you know. And of course, they couldn't see it. So, when I go to the dentist,
They couldn't see it.
They didn't want to see
the gal
They
that
saw it.
cleans my teeth, what are they called? Hygienist.
Dental hygienist.
Yeah.
So she and I, she and her, she has a friend. They go out driving, and they're looking. And I says, like, for God's sake, let me know next time you go.
Going in on that.
I want to see, you know.
The happiest I would ever be, just like you, how you're doing what you love to do, the happiest I would be is to go and do traveling and looking in old places, and you know how they do that on those shows,
Yeah.
Detour and stuff? I would love to do that as a living. That's me.
Just don't take stuff. We told you.
No, I
Don't.
did. But I know.
Make sure you touch it all and take it with you.
What?
Don't take
Don't touch stuff. What do you mean?
No, because you bring it home, you bring back something.
bring
with you.
back-
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
We brought something back.
Matches.
We
Come
brought
on.
something
Have-
back.
have-
I went to
What?
I brought something
I've
back to
never
this
had
house,
anything
and
with
we
it.
went out to the
I
bar.
don't have a lot of dead
My neighbor
fellows
across the
stuff.
street said, "Why is your lights flashing on
I
out
don't
here? You
think they
guys
want
home?
anything to
No,
do
we're in the
with
bar.
it.
We're
Just
in
happy
a small town, right? Well, your lights are going on and off constantly while you're not there, and all of a sudden stop, on and off, stop,
Really?
on and off." We brought
No.
something back. We brought something back with us.
No. Oh man, that might explain why Joe was popping up and looking in the bedroom and watching.
You don't
Because
put
Well,
something
you've got grandma and grandpa's,
Grandma
and you got
Grandpa's
Uncle
stuff
Gus.
and Gus's stuff, and
We had an
nonsense.
interview because with COVID we couldn't be in the same house all the time,
Yeah.
in the same place. So we would do it through, but then we stopped recording for 6 months because we lost our feel, we lost our oomph, you know, because we had this camaraderie, this chemistry. But we did do some interviews for a little while. We interviewed a group out of Steinbach called SPA, which Southeastern Paranormal Association.
Oh, okay.
We interviewed them. Like, we've interviewed a lot.
Did
of
they do the one
people.
that did the Nanette sanitarium?
Senate.
No, they did the church I can't mention because people.
Okay,
Yes,
because my mom worked at that sanitarium, and
Did she?
yeah,
Oh wow.
Pardon
yeah,
me.
and there's still things happening in
There
that
is
place.
still. And you know what?
And my mom worked there.
Coincidentally, you mentioned this today because there's a girl I work with at work, an older lady. She just retired today. We had a Zoom retirement party for her. I've known her for years, but just in the last 2 years, I've worked in her area or whatever. I up until now, everybody's telling me do Nanette, go see Nanette and talk to people from that, but I won't do
Nanette, the place Nanette?
Nanette, yeah.
Yeah, Nanette, yeah.
I won't do it at this point, or I haven't up until now because of the girl that retired. Her mom died there, so you know, it's
out
a
of
little
respect.
out of respect. You know, like if she ever
Yeah.
caught wind that we discussed this place, I do believe it is haunted.
Where-
I-
You
may
can
have
talk
went-
to her first about it.
Where
maybe.
is this Nanette?
Nanette?
that
Okay,
way.
so if you come from number 2 highway, you know where Killarney
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Dun,
Yeah.
you heard of Dunray?
yes,
You've heard of Dunray?
yes,
Oh.
yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Larry and I, we would drive
Mona
around.
Lisa? Yeah, okay, so, yeah,
It's that
Nanette's
way.
not that far from there.
Okay, we drove through there. My husband, he knows everything. He's Mr.
Yes,
Jeopardy.
he is. Yes, he
Been
is.
there,
He's
done
Clifford
it,
from Cheers. He's Clifford from
Yes,
Cheers.
yes. And he says, Ninette. And he says there was a sanitarium here.
Yeah.
My
When
mom
you were
was a
talking-
cook there
Oh wow.
for
eh?
about 15 years. A cook.
Stuff would happen, I'm sure. Yeah.
Lots, yeah.
Really?
Lots.
Oh, but what I was saying about the spa, we interview spa, so they have some that are intuitives, you know, on camera with me. Cher's on the phone. We're talking. We're in my pod lounge, which is my son's bedroom, but now it's my office and stuff. I have a lot of stuff in the room from like all my family that's passed, right? My mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather, right?
Yeah.
My grandparents raised me. And the girls, they start talking to themselves on camera, and I'm like, what? And they're like, you've got orbs all over the place.
Oh my God.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Not much phases
Can
me.
they see or with cameras?
Yeah. You know, this was on the camera, and they're like, you've got orbs, but I couldn't see the orbs, right? They're pointing, they go, look at all the orbs. And I'm like, yeah, well, I do have a lot of, you know, my family's stuff in here. And then they're like, I see something over there. They go, do you have something over there? And they go, like, I'm feeling like jewelry, like somebody's jewelry. And I said, oh, well, I had my mom's jewelry in here earlier that I was sorting through. But then I realized when they were pointing, and you can't see it on the camera, they wouldn't physically be able to see it, but it was my grandmother's old jewelry box from Germany. And that's what they're pointing to up on the shelf where they saw the orbs. And I'm like,
Really?
oh, my grandmother's jewelry. Yeah, so it was just kind of cool.
You would think, because you know how we're open-minded, and we're all sitting here talking about it, things like that, and there's people that aren't open-minded. You would think spirits or whatever would try to
Talk to
come
those
here right
people?
now. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we got some people here that's going to communicate. We're going to get them their
Yeah.
attention.
You would think.
You would think we'd have that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I know.
Because other people don't want to believe it, don't want to see it, don't want to whatever, right?
But I think, you know, people fear the unknown. So if
Yeah.
if they can't explain, if they don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
then they won't believe it. They won't talk about it.
But
right?
we are believing in it. So
Right.
where are these? Come on, come see us. Come see us.
Well,
right now.
there's no friggin' way I want to be around when anybody
No?
had. No.
No.
I am quite. I will watch and.
But you don't want to
and
have
I-
to you.
And I says,
want
you
to
know
have to.
what?
No.
There is no friggin' way you would see me wandering around. You know,
Yeah.
I have with my ex-husband when we were younger. Went to, you know, a couple old houses. Even myself,
Yeah.
I had gone. You know, my mom and dad had a farm, and there was an old house, and I remember the people that lived there. And we went into the old house, you know, because I said to my dad, you know, like, I'm curious, you know, see the old house there, and never was in it, but, you know, went there, and you kind of walk around. But I'm seeing in my mind, well, of course, anybody, you remember the people that lived there, because
Yeah, yeah.
they came to your house, you know, and
See, I'm open-minded. Like, where you
Yeah.
don't want to see it, I want to see it.
I
That's why I
don't.
want to go to
don't.
places. I want to do this for a living, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens
see,
to me.
I would like to go, like, to, you know, to Europe and all the
Castles?
castles and the manor houses. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see
Yeah.
that.
I'd like to see it for the history.
Yeah, well, that's it.
course.
Anything else, like, you ain't gonna see me going to no dungeon. That's for damn sure. You know?
Well, just like
The dead will stay there, you know. You
Yeah.
had a miserable life. I'm sorry, God, you know, God
Stay
bless
there.
you, but I
Do
ain't.
not bother me.
Well, just like the Vaughan Street Jail, you pick up. I've been in there a couple times. You pick up
Really?
some odd vibes in there.
Really?
Oh yeah, totally.
Where's the Vaughan
Really.
Street Jail?
It is right across, right beside the Law Courts building.
Yeah,
Really?
I've heard of
Is
it,
it still
but
a jail?
No, it's storage mostly. And I think
Really?
there's a group called Friends of Vaughan Street Jail that's headed by Kristen, the one that runs Square Peg Tours, that does all the walking tours downtown, the haunted tours and stuff. So she heads the group.
what I wanted.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
I
Kristen, and I've been on her tours. They're very good.
Good,
We
okay.
promote her. I don't like the ones where she does 3 or 4 stops in one night. I personally find that when she does 3 or 4 stops at different places in one night, you don't feel or see anything. However, I've been on a couple of her tours where you spend like 3 or 4 hours in one location.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've seen and felt things. Things have happened, right? But anyway, so she heads this group called Friends of Vaughan Street Jail, and they try to raise money because they want to renovate it and get it back up to stuff. But they only have tours there during doors open weekends, which is usually in May. I think this year they had it in September because of COVID. But yeah, like I've had people tell me they've tried to take pictures in the jails, and all of a sudden their cameras won't work and they can't get a picture, or it'll, you remember back in the days when you would take films and if you didn't move forward it and you'd get that weird kind of over one another. Yeah. I had actually somebody show me a picture taken on their cell phone by an iPhone. It did that effect when they tried to take a picture in one of the jail cells.
Really?
And our camera would shut off too when we tried to take a picture probably in that same jail cell. So it's got a very bad vibe.
They have these like close to Halloween where you can go on these tours in this haunted house or haunted places in Winnipeg,
Right.
And that I'd like to go.
Yeah,
just to see.
Why don't we do it for next Halloween?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Like
Tour. Let's make a tour.
To go on
So
a tour.
So why don't we plan it?
Just to see the haunted areas.
Who else? Your friend has to come.
Shannon won't. Shannon's not coming. Shannon's scared.
Okay, awesome.
Your friend that does a podcast with you,
Sure,
she'll come.
yeah, she'll come. But I have to tell you, it's funny because, was it last year? I'm losing track now. It might have been the first year that we did the podcast, and I thought, but there was so much happening in my family with everybody passing and stuff, and so much going on. I got a hold of everybody too late. I contacted like Heebie-Jeebies and what are some of the other places, the Corn Maze, and all these places that have haunted arrangements. Six Pines, I'm like, would you like to come and
nuts?
Yeah, would you like to come and interview? And Six Pines was the only one that got back to me. I think another one got back to me saying, we're too busy, it was too close, we're setting up, which was like September or something. And that's fine.
Scary.
I'll go tell you something about Six Pines.
Six
Pines. Very scary.
The girl that got back to me from Six Pines says, we would absolutely love to. She said, but we're kind of busy right now, so we couldn't plan anything. She says, but I will tell you, she said, honestly, she says, we have an old barn on the property that we use with the hay bales when we set up. She says, we've had employees tell us they get really bad feels in there, and that there is black shadow figures in there. So I would love to go back.
Yeah,
there's
Six Pines is bad.
After my guys over here, I ain't going.
Yeah.
Didn't Alec and Tyra go to Six Pines?
Was it that or Heebie-Jeebies?
Probably Heebie-Jeebies. That's the big one.
Which
Is it the wine in the fridge?
I thought it was.
Sorry.
Yes, it's the wine in the fridge, top shelf. Yes. I thought it was Six Pines.
I took Jordan there when she was little.
Yeah.
He said to me, he goes,
I'll text her.
Okay.
you might not want to take her in there because she'll be wrecked for the rest of her life.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I won't. I was such a bad mom, eh?
Aw.
Yes. Because I was so into this shit. Come on, girls, let's go in. It's not gonna be that bad. You don't want to take your child in there, he says.
What about Lower Fort Garry? Have you ever gone there?
Yes, I've had experiences at Lower Fort
I set
Yeah.
weddings up in there.
Did
And
you?
so-
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's
in there.
creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Oh, it's beautiful in
Beautiful,
there.
but
It's
creepy.
so historic.
We did table tipping
No,
with
it's
Kristen
creepy.
in there in the jail.
What's table tipping?
That's where you
Table tipping.
That's where you put your fingers under.
You
the
mean cow
table.
tipping?
No, I wish. No, this is where this is where you put your fingers just lightly under the table, and usually you have about 6 people, 6 people, and I swear to you, this was a big old wooden table, like it was heavy.
They are heavy.
Very well. The one they had there was at this big old wooden table, and there was 6 of us sitting at it. We're all rotating, taking turns and stuff, and she would talk, and I had my phone sitting on top to record the audio. And there's a known prisoner, like from 150 years ago, that's known to haunt there. And she would try and talk to him, right? And there was like 30 and 40 of us around, and it's like dusk. It's like,
God, I wish I could do this.
it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. We'd spent already 3 hours there because we were doing the whole tour. And we're on the table, and then she said, because I know her, I mean, like, I don't know her, but, like, we've talked and communicated with her enough and stuff, and she knew us at the group, and then plus we're wearing our shirts saying Giving Up the Ghost, and then she says, if you can hear me, make the table walk towards Jasmine. So, like, I'm sitting like this, and then you hear the table legs, you can feel it into the concrete, and it's, like, walking towards me, and, like, it was starting here. I'm like, okay, you proved your point, that's good now, thank you. And it stopped.
That's crazy.
And you can hear
And you were okay with that, and you were calm.
it takes a lot to really throw me off. Anyway, and
I'm like, I'm out of
See,
here.
I want to do this. I'm all talk and I want to do this. But
Yeah.
could I
use
do what
humor.
she did?
I use humor to get me through sheer terror. But like, you could hear it on the phone on the recording. You could hear the vibrations, and it was like, and these people aren't lifting it because it's old and heavy, and you can legitimately see people. Nobody's going like this. Nobody. You could. Everybody's just kind of like going with it, just like okay. Anyway, it was kind of freaky. It was
That's
cool
neat.
though. It was pretty cool.
They used to have at Halloween an event there where you would.
I went. It was good.
Oh,
What's
Mark
the Halloween
loved
handle?
it.
What's the Halloween
Everything's
handle?
handle it, so it's really cool and creepy.
Yeah, Mark, Alec, and Matthew
Bless
went.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, they had a great time. I didn't go.
They didn't have it this year though,
No.
Didn't?
or the last year, not with
Yeah,
COVID.
not
I
with
guess.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take Andrew and Mark there the next time.
But going in there and setting up
Go to
weddings.
a movie.
It's a little bit creepy.
because we want them to
Right?
suffer.
It's very quiet, very echoey, very whatever you're setting. If you're by yourself setting it up, it's like
Absolutely,
I
Carrie.
wouldn't be alone there.
All we need
I
is
was.
the kids to join in.
Yeah.
We're golden.
Or we can leave
Well,
them.
I guess I'll shut it
Yeah,
off now if you want to
absolutely.
pass me
Oh.
my phone. Okay, that was part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.
enjoyed my
Bye-bye.